So I'm up late editing last night, and I just see that Kit uploads a video out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, he must got something to say what's going on. I look, sure enough, Boox released another product. So then I had to get up, like, I almost broke my neck trying to get to the site to see what the hubbub was all about. Oh, they did it. They did it. They took direct aim at Remarkable with this one. So, Super Note owners rejoice, I guess. Welcome back to the channel. Roger here, Rants About Tech. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you're not new anymore. And for everyone that's not new, go ahead and hit that like button. All right, let's get started. So it looks like Boox released 2 new devices yesterday. Well, I'd say released, but they just released information, started the pre-orders for these devices. I don't even know when they're coming out. I guess we'll get there. So we're just gonna go through the site together. One of the products is called the Go Color 7. And the other product, which I'm most interested in, is the Go 10.3, which to me, like I said, is taking direct aim at Remarkable. It's remarkable. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Go Color 7 first and get that out of the way before I start my rant. So it's a flexible 7-inch color e-paper reader. So when they say flexible, it makes me think Mobius display technology is in play here. There's nothing that tells me that this is a Mobius screen. It may be plastic in that the shell is plastic. They didn't make it out of metal, which would make it lighter and it would make it flex. It's got glass in it, so how flexible is it? We'll get there. So, but I would definitely love to see more Mobius screens on these devices, just to help durability and for that real e-ink experience, in my opinion, of being as close as possible to the display when you're writing. So that has become increasingly important to me for whatever reason. So we have more fun with mellow colors, portable bookshelf for endless reads, flexibility to install apps. So it's still Android based, this operating system they're using for the new devices. So Kid mentioned that they were running a different operating system, and I think he's privy to that right now. So I'm super excited to see what he unearths in this I guess tutorial or review or whatever video he's going to put out about this operating system. I am definitely looking forward to that because I want to know. Protect against unwanted spills and splashes. So apparently these new devices are water resistant, or maybe just the Go Color 7 is water resistant. Like I thought, it uses a Kaleido 3 display, like all their other color devices right now. All their other recent color devices, made to fit your needs, personalize your reading experience. I mean, it doesn't look like they have the BMS technology in here. I said BMS. It doesn't look like they have the BSR in here, but they do let you customize some of the contrast levels. It looks like. I mean, right off the bat, I'm gonna say that this looks like a plastic version of. Let me go get it. So this is the Tab Mini C. It has a glass display and a metal frame. And it has the Boox Super Refresh technology inside it, which typically means it has some kind of discrete graphics processor going on inside of it. But this device that we're seeing here looks like it's going to be a stripped down version of this with the Note operating system. Does that sound familiar to you? It sounds like the Note Air series of devices is what this thing is going to be, especially if it looks like it's going to come with the Note operating system, which is why I'm so excited to see what Kit unearths and his experience with the new operating system that they're giving him access to. So I want to see if it's a stripped down Note OS or stripped down Tab OS or a combination of both or something totally new. I definitely want to know. 195 grams is pretty light. Like I said, water repellent design, very nice. Yeah, it's an e-reader though, with the buttons to match, and a lot of people have been wanting that. A few people in my comments have talked about how buttons has become essential to them, and a lot of these devices don't have buttons, and they wish that they did have buttons. This is kind of addressing that. It's a color e-ink device with the latest Boox technology in it. Maybe a new operating system, maybe better than the Note OS. I'm interested to see. But yeah, so this seems like it's going to answer a lot of people's prayers in the e-ink space with this particular one. Like I said, I'm more interested in the bigger one, but This does interest me in the sense that it's making strides in the area of adding that tactile functionality, and I do like that. Paper-like tactile back and comfortable to hold. Again, we're talking about tactile, comfortable to hold. So they're making the back more like I think what the Nova Air 1 was. From what I understand, I've never had the device, but I did some research on it, and it seems like from what people were saying who bought it, that it had this textured back that the newer Nova devices don't have. So if I said Note, I meant Nova. So the Nova Air 1, had that tactile back, and it looks like they're bringing that back because the Nova Air 2 and I think the Nova Air 3 didn't have that tactile back. What do we got here? Nature-inspired texture, breathable design. So they're talking about the case here. Durability in style. So the durability comes from the fact that I think the case is made from a plastic. Grab right and go light. So let's look at the specs though. I do want to see how the specs pan out. So happy to see them put a color device with a light color background. That's awesome. I mean, they've been trying to make the darker bezels because the Kaleido screens are on the darker side, but I don't care, man. That adds so much more. It adds the feeling of contrast, even if it doesn't add any contrast to it. To me, it's way better than the black bezels. Hardware. I'll say so. All right. So this isn't a 7.8 inch screen. It's a 7-inch screen. Interesting. Carta 1200 glass screen. So this is not a plastic display by any means. Resolution 1680 by 1264, which puts it at 300 ppi for black and white and 150 for color, which is on par with every other Kaleido 3 device. Touch capacitive 2.4 gigahertz octa-core. Nice bit of RAM, 4 gigs, nice. 64 gigs, that's a lot of space too for eReader, essentially. Standard fare for the connectivity going on there. Front light, so it does have a front light. All right, so they're doing a front light for this. I hear they're not doing a front light for the other one, but we're gonna go over those specs when we get to it. Android 12, okay. And the usual formats are being supported. We saw the buttons for turning pages, typical USB-C, typical micro SD port. Although I'm not sure that the micro SD port is typical for the Nova devices. I definitely think this is taking over the Nova line of devices. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm seeing this right now. A 2,300 milliamp hour battery, which is a decent sized battery. So how thin is it? 0.25 inches thin, or 6.4 millimeters thin. So it looks like the bigger device is going to be thinner than this 7-inch device right here, which is crazy. Well, no, because you got more area to disperse components out. In a smaller device, you don't have a lot of area, so you have to kind of compile and pack the components in there. Okay, so that is the Go Color 7, the Boox Go Color 7. And what do I think? I think it's going to be a nice little e-reader. I think it's going to take over the Nova line. Great. It simplifies things a little bit because that was kind of wonky. It sets it in a Go and a Tab line for the smaller devices. I'll be interested to see what they do with a refresh of the Tab Mini C, as this is, I think, about a year old now. So I'll be interested to see what they come out with to replace that. If they do that anytime soon. This is an awesome and incredible device. I don't think they need to refresh it right now, but it's like I said, it's been a year, so I think they might. And at the pace they're innovating and remaking and upgrading products and renaming, you just never know. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the Color 7.3. All right, so like I said, this is the one I'm more interested in, and it does have a very remarkable like aesthetic. I'm gonna go and grab that. Be right back. All right, so I have the Remarkable 2 here. I'm just gonna sit this over here. Super Note, you have to slide over. Make room, bro. Make room. So as you can see here, the Remarkable 2 has this wide bezel down below, and then they have this added bezel or added metal right here on the side that goes right beside this smaller bezel on the left side right here. So if you look at the picture here, this is exactly the same. They have a regular frame with a bigger bezel at the bottom, and they have that metal frame on the left side right there. I mean, they're taking aim directly, and the color of the pen, I didn't even think about that before, but the color of the pen, I mean, they're definitely taking aim at Remarkable on this one. I mean, there is no mistaking it. I initially thought they were going to be taking aim at the Supernote when I heard about this. I'm like, oh boy, the Supernote about to get a run for his money. But nah, they were like, nah, we're taking aim at the Remarkable. And actually, I think this might be the thinnest device. We'll get to that spec, but they might have taken the thin keying title away from Remarkable. But let's go ahead and go over the specs here. So before we go into that, I have a couple of things I wanted to see if this thing had off the top before I like did any research with it. And what I wanted to know was, one, did it have a Mobius display? Kit mentioned that it was plastic. I didn't know to what extent he was talking, so I was like, okay, I'm hoping that means it's got a plastic display, which means it's Mobius. This, I don't know. So is it Mobius? Is it plastic? It said it was plastic, but I don't know if I saw any documentation in here. We're going to look at it again here. Does it come with a standard pen? They shipped the standard pen with a Note Air 3C, which I thought for sure was going to come with their upgraded pen. It did not. So what are they doing with this? And how is the OS different? Kit mentioned the OS, and I've seen a couple pictures, and I'm wondering, how is that OS different from what they have now? If you've watched the channel, you know that I do not like the Boox Note operating system. They have two, it seems like. It may be adding a third one. They have the Note OS, and then they have the Tab OS, or like I said, whatever they're introducing here might be. So I'm hoping that it's got that system going on for it, because I can't take the Note operating system. I mean, it's, for some people, it's not bad. I get it. Personal preference for me, don't like it. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So it seems like they have they're touting a ultra thin tablet with a paper-like weight and a super clear e-paper display made for creative mind. Live light, go simple. All right, so 4.6 millimeters. Less space, more possibilities, and 375 grams. So let's do a quick search on how thin the Remarkable is. Oh, no, I think the Remarkable is 4.7. Let's yes, 4.7. This nearly beats it out by a 0.1 millimeter. Way to go, Boox. Way to go. You gotta give it to them. Clap it up. Way to go. You know, they've had a goal in mind, and they set out to do it, and they did it. So I guess Remarkable doesn't have that thinnest tablet in the world tag anymore. Boox came along and was like, run it. Just run it. That's incredibly thin. I'm kind of excited to see it now that I know that it's definitely thinner than the Remarkable 2. This thing is super thin, and to see that someone else has something that's thinner than this, and plastic too, super durable, and lighter because it's going to be plastic, and this is metal. Like, come on. Like, this is going to be nice. I can't front. Paper feel blends in. So the notebook strap pattern on the back perfectly merges the charm of paper notes, giving you the feel of using a real notepad, but with flexibility and digital power. Now, I like this. So I like this aesthetic when people take something and add a little old world style to it. You know, not for functionality of any kind, but just because it's familiar, right? But if you're going to do it, in my opinion, add some functionality. You're going to be adding, you just added something to it, a look. That could have been a kickstand or something. I don't know. Just, you know, make it functional. Just let's not just add things on for the sake of nostalgia. You know what I mean? The dominant grayish white creates a clean look with no buttons on the front panel and all ports neatly aligned around the bezel. It's simple, just the way life should be. So, all right, so they did it better this time. I made a gripe about how the speakers were on the side where the handle is on the Note Air 3C. I think I did that in an update video. If I didn't, it's coming. That just seemed annoying to me because the speakers were by your hand and your hand just muzzled the speakers, or muffled the speakers, muzzled them too. It just didn't make sense to me. And that was charging port coming out of that side too. Like, it just was weird. This is way better. Now, of course, my preference would have the charging port up top. Makes more sense. charging while you're writing. I get it. You can angle that. You can throw an angled cable there. Not a big deal. Just throw them on the top. Leave them there from now till infinity. Let's everyone just start doing that. The Super Note. It just should be right there on the top. There's no, makes things easy. But what I like that they have it though. They got them. So they got speakers, obviously, a charging port down there. I'm thinking there's a SIM tray somewhere around the bezel as well. Maybe not. Maybe this doesn't have a SIM card slot. Let's see. 300 PPI. Great. So this is a Carta 1200 display. And no front light. So these are the reasons I'm excited about this display and this device, right? Because like I said, I've become increasingly concerned with the distance between the writing surface and the actual eInk display. I want it to be the shortest distance it can be, shortest distance possible. I need record-breaking levels of difference, you know what I'm saying? I need Guinness Book World Record levels of nothingness between the writing surface and the display. Give it to me. I need it. And this seems to be getting close to that with no front light. Okay, so no front light, and we know that that's not a color display. Well, we don't know that. But yes, we do. With the Carta 1200, we know it's not a color display. So, not a color display, no front light, which means that that's at least 2 layers right there negated from the manufacturing process. So that's at least 2 layers closer to the writing surface than what the Note Air 3C can do, or the Tab Mini C, or any of the color Boox devices. So we're going to get unparalleled levels of inkiness on this screen. It's going to be like writing on a Super Note or a Remarkable, and not like a Boox product at all. So I mean, and that is one of my gripes about the Boox products, is that you don't get that genuine, authentic e-ink look from the Boox devices. I mean, it's e-ink, right? But I think that genuine look just comes from the ink being super close to the writing surface. And with those layers in between the writing surface and the display, it's kind of hard to get that kind of look, to kind of trick the brain into thinking that the ink is coming from what you're writing with versus the display, because when the ink is so close to the surface that you're writing on, there's a level of reality that gets suspended in your brain, you know what I'm saying? That experience, it's kind of magical. And to get that level of magic, I think you need to shorten the distance between the display and the surface you're writing on, to make that distance as short as possible, at all costs, in my opinion. Because that's what the magic is. That's exactly where the magic lies, in nothingness. So yeah, so that's my thing. I think this is going to be magic in the writing department. It's going to rival the writing experience to me, that the Remarkable at least has. It's going to be hard to match the writing experience of the Super Note because of that surface they have on there and the ceramic nib combination. That's going to be tough. But at least they're getting close to Remarkable levels of magic. And that's a start. So read any book, mark freely, view in any direction. Install Android apps, use the dark mode. The dark mode. Okay, you see what I'm saying? That's what I like. Someone asked me about a dark mode in these devices, and I didn't think that there was. Somebody let me know if there is in the comments, but I don't think there is right now. But this device, I guess, has a dark mode that it can deploy on you if you want it. And the case. So the case is a fully magnetic protective case. It's not a half folio, it's a full case. And they have a magnetic stylus with it as well. The Pen Plus. Oh, so they do give you the better stylus maybe? Or is that the standard? Is the Pen Plus standard? I don't even know anymore. I don't know if the Pen Plus is standard. It looks like the standard pen, I'm not gonna lie to you. It doesn't look like the pen with the eraser that they give you with the Pro models. But it is white. Like I said, it is matching the lighter colors of the Remarkable. In every aspect. All right, so they got a couple stats down here. We have the Carta 1200 monochrome screen, 300 PPI. Those are all things we've already read so far. Pretty decent sized battery. Oh, on par with the Note Air 3C, okay. Which should last a lot longer. People have a problem with the Note Air 3C's battery. I mean, I don't personally, just because I'm always using it in the office kind of deal. I'm never really carrying it about, trying to use it on the go. So it works fine for me. I just charge it up every other day, no big deal. But a lot of people have problems with that battery, and this has the same size battery, but it should last a lot longer because there's no color to push around with the Kaleido 3 display, which from what I understand just drains a whole lot more battery, and you don't have a front light to power. So those two things combined will save a lot of battery life. So this should last a lot longer than the Note Air 3C does, even though it is the same size battery. Both running Android 12. All right, in those aspects it's the same. Definitely thinner than the Note Air 3C. All right, so let's see if we can get to the actual specs here. Oh, that does look nice. Nice little packaging, get up there. I can't wait to get one of these into the studio to kind of feel around it and see what's going on with it. All right, so these are the specs, and it's pretty much on par with the specs we've already seen. I don't think it's telling us what the actual materials are. All right, so I'd be interested to know whether the device itself is plastic. It seems like it must be, since I think they were calling this, I think they were saying that this was pretty durable and flexible too. Or maybe it's just a 7-inch one they called flexible. Ultra thin tablet with a paper-like weight. So the weight, them saying it's a paper-like weight does kind of indicate that it is a plastic device. All right, so I think that's all the info we can glean from the site. But just some final thoughts here. I think that it's a beautiful looking device. It definitely rivals the Remarkable in look, especially if it's thinner. I mean, that's not a discernible difference, right? That 0.1 millimeter. So you won't be able to see that difference, and you probably won't be able to feel that difference. But it is going to feel at least as thin as the Remarkable 2, which feels super thin. It feels really good in the hand. And it's going to have the added benefit of being lighter, right? Man, and I think if the eInk experience is as close to the display or as close to the writing surface as the Remarkable and the Super Note is, I think I'm going to have a hard decision to make on which device I use full time, because this just looks incredible. And has been my biggest gripe about Boox products, like I said. And that has been my biggest plus for these two products, is that they, to me, like I said, in my opinion, have that pure eInk aesthetic, where the ink is super close to this writing surface, which gives the ink a whole different personality, in my opinion. And like I said, it kind of suspends reality in that sense, that you think you're writing on actual paper. I'm not saying that you can't get that sensation from a Boox product, but the closer you get to that display for writing, the better that experience becomes, in my opinion. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for me. I hope you got something from this first look I've taken at the Go 10.3 and the Go Color 7. Two new devices from Boox that look really, really promising and look really interesting. Like I said, they got their sights on Remarkable. Super Note owners rejoice. All right, till next time, take care.